Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Anyreach Roundtable, where we explore how AI is reshaping industries. I'm your host, Richard Lin, CEO of Anyreach, and I'm joined by Ian Tan, co-founder and CEO of HomeBase, a company using AI to help homeowners reduce property taxes. Ian, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Rich. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'd love to tell the audience a little bit about your background. You had a pretty incredible journey starting at Amazon, moving to AngelList, and now launching Homebase. What inspired you to start Homebase, and how does your background shape the company's vision?
Yeah, so the genesis for Homebase started primarily around my own experience as a homeowner. One, for most folks that listen and are homeowners, like there's just a shit ton of stuff. Sorry, can I even curse on the podcast? But there's a
No,
shit
it's
ton of
always fine.
stuff.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah.
There's just so much things to be honestly obsessed about, worried about, paying your taxes, trying to figure out if the boiler's working, are you on, do you pay your bills yet? There's just so many different stuff. And then as I start to kind of look through all the different ways that I can think about improving my own experience, I just sort of lucked into this space because I had no clue what goes into taxes. I had no idea what the process was like. I clearly didn't know that I was overpaying, but through my own discovery, through my own exploration, I found out that this was a really busted program, busted system, and that's why I thought I want to start. And kind of being at Amazon really gave me the impetus to build something that people want, and then to always be customer obsessed, being focused on what the customer wants as a product, and always focusing on that as the primary driving vision for any company you're working on.
Got it. Got it. Well, I'll be the first one to say that when it comes to home ownership and taxes, I don't have a single clue of the entire operation. My first house that I purchased, I just ended up signing everything and initialing, 50 pages of documents saying, okay, cool, sounds good, let's go. Um, so just for our audience, to get a little bit more clarity on Homebase, can you maybe give us the elevator pitch? What do you guys do, and so forth?
So yeah, I think the way that we'd like to pitch it today is what if you can know in 4 seconds of less if you're overpaying on your property taxes, for which
Hmm.
over 1 in 2 American homeowners are overpaying. And if you are overpaying, what are the steps, what are the solutions that we can help automate through AI for you to get your money back from your local government?
Got it, got it. Super cool. Kind of switching gears a little bit. We've all heard about how AI can streamline, make things a lot more efficient, and so forth. But when it comes to financial services, and AI, I think the topic and concerns around trust usually come up. So how do you at Homebase and how does your team, you know, address the issues around accuracy, data privacy, or any sort of like hidden fees? And kind of what's the process and thoughts around that?
So specific to kind of the problem space we operate in, it fundamentally boils down to you don't know what the inputs are. How are you able to independently verify that the outputs are right? So in the
Hmm.
case of property taxes, you have no idea what the county does, which houses they're pulling, what metrics they're using. They barely tell you anything, and all you get in April and October is, Rich, this is a notice. You need to pay $60,000 for your property in California. Just go do it.
Hmm.
So effectively, what we're doing is we're using AI to expose the data points and allow homeowners to independently verify for themselves what we believe are the right data points to assess if
Hmm.
they're overpaying on their property. So it's not really revolutionary, right? All you're doing is just shining a light on a space and a problem that nobody has any idea what goes into the inputs, and then be able to expose to them how we think about what their outputs are and then use that to their benefit against the value judgment that the county has assessed on their homes.
Got it. Got it. I mean, I think, yeah, as you mentioned, transparency is so key kind of in the process.
Mhm.
Um, it's not just the existing information that you need access to as a home buyer, or homeowner, but even when the laws change, right, and they change quite frequently,
Yes, they
just be
do.
on top of that, right? And that's a very hard problem to solve, but super exciting that you guys are doing it. Homebase claims a 90% plus success rate in securing tax relief and has identified over, 100 million in savings. How does your AI model maintain accuracy and fairness while making these tax assessments?
So for like I mentioned, we don't operate in a black box like what the current system, what the current process looks like. We show, we don't tell. Meaning we tell you, we basically give you all the different data, the inputs, the market research, the market inputs, the individual property characteristics, and where do we assign the individual value to your home to get that. Effectively, this is a data problem. And where we stand behind our product is we don't have any narrative, right? We don't put together a petition that is qualitatively driven by the relationship we have with the county. We don't whine, we don't dine them. We basically say, this is the data, this is what we've collated, tabulated, analyzed together. Use
Mm,
that as the source of truth and the foundation for where we think the petition would be successful. And I think that is our strengths. That's really kind of where technology can shine, is you basically take out any of the qualitative aspect of an interaction and just fundamentally build your case on quantitative, raw, hard metrics.
mm,
And that's why our success rate is so high. It's just
mm.
primarily around like we don't sugarcoat anything, we don't bullshit anything, we just tell you exactly what it is.
Got it, got it. And then on that 90% success rate, I'm sure there's alternatives, not AI services or software. What's the general benchmark in the market for, the same
Yeah.
process tool? Yeah.
So analog systems where you either do it yourself or you hire a lawyer to do it, success rate tends to vacillate between 15 to maybe a high of like 40% or so. And
Wow.
a lot of times, what they do is they strategically target cases where they think they can win or they can make a lot of money. So it's almost like a Boolean decision for them. Best case, they get one that can definitely win and can make a whole ton of money, where your overassessment is 10, 15, 20K. But what that really does is it kind of calcifies the system where only the rich, the people that are well resourced, are able to take advantage of the petition process. Your traditional middle of the fairway American homeowners, households have no ability to hire a lawyer where they will pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to do these such petitions. Or if they were to do it themselves, they're really bogged down by the bureaucratic process, which I think is something that has been pretty revelatory in the age of AI. How
Mm,
do you take something really boring, something dry, understand it, refine it into a human readable, as we like to call it, human readable process, and go, hey, these are all the inputs that you need. Simplify a process that is full legalese, doesn't have to be bureaucratic, doesn't have to be complicated, so that I can understand what's required of me and then action upon that more effectively.
got it, got it. Well, it sounds like the old prevailing way of doing things of hiring a lawyer with only a 15 to 40% success rate sounds pretty miserable.
Plus,
So,
you got to deal with lawyers, which, as far as
right,
I'm concerned, is never something people want to do on any given day.
right, exactly. So it's great that you're looking in this space and using AI to streamline it. Switching a little bit in terms of the gears, as you think about maybe broadly the financial services, home buying, and so forth, I know you guys are mostly focused on tax relief. How do you see kind of the industry shaping out with all the different kind of AI capabilities going into the market?
So it really boils down to the personalization, right? So call it Web 2, Web 3. It's primarily around, okay, what is an archetype for Ian? What's an archetype for Richard? And what do we think that Ian and people that look like Ian and Richard would like?
Mm,
But at the sort of core of it, it's not customized to your individuality. It doesn't know anything about you. It uses generalization. It basically says, Richard, you're in your call it your late 30s, you're affluent, you live in California, you're Asian, like all these different archetypes, and then they construct a CDP of like, hey, this is what I think Richard would like, and vice versa, what you would like. But in the age of AI, you're basically able to train on individual data and provide recommendation, fine-tune that preference, and be able to offer truly customized offers that's specific to the individual,
mm,
which immediately improves the conversion by lowering the acquisition cost it takes to market to the individual. Correct. So,
right.
in the space of home services, home finances, home purchases writ large, what we're trying to do is train on individual personal preferences on the data that we have on the individual in the home and go and say, Richard, this is your house. This is the specs of your house. This is your preference. This is your credit score. Let me, instead of marketing to you, give you an offer that I know that you would want because this is the best offer for you in market today.
Mm,
And we're already seeing this all across different industries where there's customized, more specialized offers. And we're going to get to the unit of one where every offer to the individual is going to be custom bespoke to them. And
mm,
we're going to see a sea change in the way that things are being marketed, things are being offered, and how quickly people can use AI to make changes, which is one of the biggest things. Switching costs used to be traditionally very high. I'm starting to see more and more of that cost coming down. So people can be more fluid in the way that they receive offers and then be able to action and switch them now.
got it, got it. So what kind of data does Homebase kind of ingest to be able to train your AI models? And in terms of what you're seeing in terms of signal for your specific use case for tax relief, what are some kind of data points that really stand out in providing that personalized and more efficient experience?
So where our total coverage is over 120 million properties all across 50 states in the United States. In general, we have 250 different data parameters on the house and on the individual, which includes your traditional physical representation, your square foot, your lot size, where you sit, characteristics, the improvements like solar panels, like
Mm,
swimming pool, basement, that kind of stuff. We also have a deeper understanding of the financial health of the home. What type of mortgage is on there? Is it a credit revolving, an ARM? Who the which bank or which financial institution offers the loan? And
mm,
all across these 250 parameters, we are starting to also ingest more user provided feedback.
mm.
Hey, some of this data is incorrect. I actually had this information about this home, or my preferences are this, and that. We're every day constantly we're training our model to be able to understand who you are as a homeowner and what your home represents to you.
Got
And
it.
effectively, we're getting better and better. All it does is just going through our process of being able to ingest and more importantly, earn the trust with the homeowners because you could theoretically do what we do, but to be able to earn the trust for homeowners, that I think is the secret sauce that separates us from everybody else.
Got it. Got it. So on that self-reported information to, obviously build a better profile of an individual customer, as a maybe a little fun thing, what's some of the kind of odd responses that you've gotten that are kind of like out of left field? Now, obviously keep it anonymous, but any going through the system where you're like, oh my God, did someone actually just say this?
I think the most that we've seen is usually around marital changes of the house,
Yeah.
which is I think the most fluid cases where we would have owners listed and then they're like, yeah, this person doesn't own this place anymore, or we transferred it over. Um, and that I think usually is a pretty sore spot for folks. It's just like the representation of who owns the place. Because again, the home is the primary financial asset for most people in America, at least up
Mm,
to 60% of them. And it's always interesting to kind of see how people are very vigilant about that aspect, which is just the ownership of it.
right.
And then the other aspect is because today what we do have is a lot of photos, but for expediency, we just show the Google Street View. If
Mm,
you have Google Street View that is just a little bit askew and pointing towards the front yard for the neighbors, they would go like, "Hey, that's not my property. Like, please change that." And like, okay, we'll get to that soon. So, very possessive, very ownership driven. But I think we love that because like that shows like pure engagement from our side.
got it. Got it. And as we kind of think about AI, obviously you're building this into your product for external customers. How's the team at Homebase thinking about, the current advancements in AI, the tooling and so forth? How do you guys view that internally, and how do you guys use it on a day-to-day basis if you do?
Yeah, so we're a team of three right now. Mostly technical, mostly focused on the back end and very deep in the weeds of what are the different available models out there.
Hmm.
Open source, closed source. Do you do Gemini? Do you do Llama? Do you do OpenAI, Anthropic? There are a lot of different permutations there. And depending on what you're looking to index for any specific workflow, we may be tweaking and making adjustments based on maybe there's a top of funnel type workflow that's best for one model and then bottom of the funnel for another model. So effectively, what we are is going to the buffet table, being able to see what is the
Mm,
best application, read through different sources, open source forums, being able, trade notes with folks like, hey, I'm working on this step of doing data mapping into a PDM form submission. Which model is the best? Have you guys seen? So
mm,
really for us, it's being open-minded, not
mm,
being entirely pigeonholed into we want this because there's a fierce loyalty to this process or to this provider, this vendor. Like there's no such thing. Today, it's all compostable. It's also all fungible. And for us, it's just being an open mindset. The key here, really, Richard, and I think that's what you guys are also doing, is like what would be the best experience for the customer?
mm.
What would dramatically increase the outcome for the customer? We don't care how the sausage is made. We just want to make the best damn sausages.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's the same kind of culture here at Anyreach where, I mean, the model advancements are just happening like almost every week. It's hard to
Yeah.
keep track of everything. And I was actually trying to look at a stat around new AI kind of research papers as a benchmark,
Mhm.
and it's about 400 papers per day being produced.
Damn.
And so it's like literally almost impossible to keep track of, what's going on. So we actually built an agent that listens to 400 papers, and then, we obviously create a prompt more specific to our business.
Mhm.
And it becomes a Slack bot essentially that lists, hey, here's the top 10 research papers today that are relevant for you guys. Take a look, and here's a summary.
Mhm.
Kind of help us kind of stay on top of, obviously the trends and on a day-to-day workflow. I mean, for me, it's been pretty interesting because I have a premium subscription across ChatGPT to Claude to Gemini and so on and so forth. And I'll be running like four reasoning models in parallel. So while I'm waiting for one, 3 minutes to do a job, I'm doing another one. Um, a super fun process, but
Mhm.
kind of have to be able to like context switch and multitask, which is great for someone like me who has like ADHD. In that kind of environment. So it's
No,
been a
don't we all?
right? Every entrepreneur, right? Pretty much. Um, and so, yeah, as you kind of think about the market you're playing in, and how that's going to evolve in the next, I'd say, like 3 to 5 years, and how AI is going to impact it. Initial thoughts. Where do you see the
Mhm.
future going? Yeah.
I think it's around building the best UX, the best UI for customers to
Mm,
interact with the product. Like I mentioned, a minute ago, everything is compostable, everything is fungible. You really, for the customer at least, for the average Joe, there really isn't an appreciation of like why would this model be preferred over that.
mm,
Cost is trending to zero, as you are very well aware.
right.
So it's fundamentally around like who can build the best user experience, and more
Mm,
importantly, who can build an experience that elicits trust and continuously to compound that trust,
mm,
right? So if you can build a product that is highly reliable, doesn't go down, you're constantly correct or correct as many times as you can, and continuously deliver value, not just on day one, but day two and day three and day 100, then the
mm,
customers will continuously come back. Because I think in the age of AI today, it's not the technological moat you can build.
yep.
It sure as shit is not a lot of different things. Ultimately, it's down to branding and network effect.
Mm,
What kind of brand, what kind of signal, what kind of authenticity that you're putting out there in the market, and how can you continuously build on that authenticity and create value for your customers? That's how they will always come back. That's how they will come back to the brand. And that I think is something that most startups today struggle with. They go, okay, we'll just build a product out there. It doesn't matter how it's done. Like, let's just put it out to market and get a dollar in. I think they kind of forget the forest for the trees there. Build for the longevity, build for the Lindy, not for the individual, dollar dopamine high.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm totally in agreement with you on there, where AI at the end of the day is going to get commoditized and it's a tool, right? It really
Yep.
comes down to the user experience and all the other secondary effects of that. And we've seen this in our own business where it's just extremely easy to whip up a voice agent or a voice stack, if you will,
Right.
right? Now, obviously, you can have some IP and tech around it, but at the end of the day, it's about, as you mentioned, building trust with the customer, making it easy to onboard. And what I like to call magic, technology should be hidden, right?
hmm hmm
Where it does something so incredible and impacts the user experience where, when a new customer tries it out, they have that aha moment, like, I can't believe this thing just did that, right? Very similar, like, when the iPhone was introduced with the pinch and zoom feature, right? It was like a 1 second demo by Steve Jobs
Yeah,
in 2007, but people were like, oh my God, this thing is amazing, right?
yeah,
But that, little demo took like 2 years of making sure the physics could work, making sure the
hmm
sensors on the phone actually operated, but all the tech was behind the scenes, right? So AI,
yeah,
and the approach to product is pretty much the similar approach as well. So,
hmm yeah.
um, well, awesome. Well, Ian, thanks for a fantastic conversation and joining us for Anyreach Roundtable. For our audience, if they want to find you and Homebase, we're going to go look.
So go to our website first and foremost. It's yourhomebase.co.
Mm,
Like I said at the top of the roundtable, we tell you in 4 seconds and less if you are overpaying on your property taxes. Everything else is secondary. We
mm,
don't for you we don't ask for any more information than just your email today. And if you want us to help you, we're 100% there to step through. And if not, the data is free for you to access and use because it's yours to begin with.
mm.
And again, our core function is to create value day one and continuously build and compound on that. So, yeah, thanks for having me, Rich. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Ian.
Cheers,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.